What if I told you that peace could be a weapon? That the very thing we are taught to celebrate, treaties, deals, handshakes, and peace talks, might not be a shield against war, but a sword wielded in silence. Behind every peace plan, there are layers of deception, psychology, and manipulation. The world sees the headline, but few ever ask the darker question: who truly benefits from peace? Donald Trump stepped into the Middle East conflict, a region scarred by centuries of bloodshed, and declared that he alone could make the deal of the century. A peace deal that could end decades of fighting in Gaza and beyond. But was this deal really about peace? Or was it about something far more dangerous: influence, control, and the hidden art of psychological warfare? Tonight, we peel back the layers. We'll uncover the hidden tactics, the conspiracy whispers, and the manipulative strategies that suggest Trump's Gaza peace push wasn't just politics. It was a mind game. And maybe, just maybe, a master plan that no one dared to see. This is not about whether you love him or hate him. This is about power, about the ability to twist psychology itself and turn peace into the most dangerous weapon of all. Peace has always been a double-edged sword. To the public, peace looks like an end to suffering. But to the strategist, peace is a stage. Trump's Gaza peace tactics weren't presented as gentle negotiations. They were sold as a historic breakthrough. He positioned himself as the only man who could break the chains of endless war. But think about it. What is the first rule of manipulation? Control the story. From the very beginning, Trump controlled the narrative. He painted himself as the ultimate deal-maker, making it seem like without him, peace was impossible. That's psychological leverage. Behind the smiling handshakes, there's a darker tactic: perception management. If you can convince the world that you're the only solution, you don't just negotiate peace, you own it. You become the peace. Here's the sinister part. Once people associate you with peace, every critic becomes an enemy of stability. Every opponent is seen as a destroyer of calm. That's not politics. That's psychological domination. Many analysts argue that Trump's peace talk was less about ending conflict and more about cementing his influence. Gaza became the perfect canvas, a place where chaos already existed, where hope was scarce, and where any promise of peace would feel like salvation. It's manipulation 101. Offer light in the darkest room, and people will mistake you for the sun. But here's the question: was this light genuine, or just a spotlight carefully aimed to blind the world? Trump has often been accused of chaos, but chaos in psychology is not always random. Sometimes chaos is strategy. Imagine a chessboard. Every piece has a role. Every move appears reckless, but in truth, it's calculated. That's how Trump approached Gaza. He offered peace deals that weren't really negotiations, but ultimatums disguised as choices. Experts call this the illusion of choice. Either accept his terms and appear as if peace has been achieved, or reject them and be branded as the side that doesn't want peace. This was the beauty of the illusion. No matter what happened, Trump could spin the narrative as victory. That's psychological warfare, not with bombs, but with words, perception, and framing. Another layer was divide and conquer. By framing peace talks around select players, Trump quietly excluded others. This didn't just simplify negotiations, it fractured alliances, forcing some leaders to align with him while isolating others. It's chess at its finest. Control not just the board, but the mind of your opponent. And yet, the deeper conspiracy emerges. If peace was achieved, who held the power? The nations themselves, or the man who engineered the illusion of calm? Here's where the shadows grow darker. To the public, Trump's Gaza tactics were about diplomacy. But to conspiracy theorists, the question was never how he created peace, but why. Who benefits from peace in Gaza? Some argue it was about economics. A calmer Middle East meant more deals, investments, and resources. Others whisper that the peace plan was less about Palestinians or Israelis, and more about building hidden alliances that served American interests in the long run. Even darker theories suggest Trump's tactics weren't about peace at all, but about control through dependency. By inserting himself as the broker of peace, he made nations dependent on him. If peace existed only because of him, then removing him risked chaos. That's leverage on a global scale. Think of it like a psychological trap. Give someone medicine for their pain, but remind them only you hold the cure. That's not healing. That's power disguised as kindness. Another conspiracy whispers that backroom deals tied to Gaza peace were linked to military contracts, intelligence sharing, and shadow agreements that the public never saw. Deals where peace was just the surface. And hidden beneath were layers of strategy designed to tilt the balance of global power. When you ask, who benefits? The answer is rarely the people on the ground. The real winners are always those who can shape perception, rewrite narratives, and hold the keys to both war and peace. Now let's break down the psychology itself. Trump's tactics in Gaza mirror some of the most notorious dark psychology strategies ever documented. Gaslighting the world, make enemies doubt their strength, make allies feel weak without him, and make the public question their own judgment. Was peace real or just a trick of the light? Fear as leverage, suggest the threat of war, then swoop in with the promise of peace. Fear weakens, hope binds. The savior complex. Position himself as the one man capable of ending centuries of chaos. This creates loyalty not out of trust, but out of desperation. Control by scarcity. Present peace as a rare commodity, only accessible through him. This makes every move appear historic, even if it's just another negotiation. These aren't political tactics. They're psychological traps, and once you're inside them, it's nearly impossible to escape. So what was Trump's Gaza peace tactic, really? Some believe he was the ultimate strategist, that every chaotic tweet, every sudden announcement, every deal was part of a carefully designed master plan. A plan to control not just politics, but perception itself. Others argue he was simply a manipulator, that his so-called peace tactics were just the darkest mind games, illusions designed to inflate his own power, regardless of long-term stability. But here's the chilling thought. What if both are true? What if Trump's peace in Gaza was a mind game that also served as a master plan? A psychological illusion so convincing that even those who opposed him became trapped in its web. Because sometimes the greatest trick isn't to convince the world of your plan, but to make them believe there is no plan at all. So now I leave you with this. Was Trump's Gaza peace tactic a genuine masterstroke, or the most dangerous mind game of our time? When peace itself can be weaponized, when psychology becomes the battlefield, and when world leaders are the players in a game we cannot see, the truth becomes more terrifying than fiction. Remember this: war destroys bodies, but peace, false peace, destroys minds. And in the end, the scariest conspiracies are not about bombs, armies, or missiles. The scariest conspiracies are about peace.